Hi guys, started it up just a little bit early so that we know that our sound is good and everything's working today. So far so good, and I will see you in just a few. Okay guys, here we go. I'm going to hop on just a few minutes early. Good morning. How are you? Start off by saying happy 4th of July weekend. I am just gearing up. I've got a house full coming. It's, what do I have today? Today I think I have 16, possibly 18 people here, starting in maybe like in less than an hour. So it'll be a festive 4th of July, and I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to have kids and grandkids and good food, good conversation, lots of laughs. So I hope that's in your plans for the weekend too. All right, so there's lots of stuff happening. Even though it's 4th of July weekend, there's been a lot happening. Yesterday, that fabulous mini catalog went live. We can now open the pages and show it to you. The other thing that went live is, well, let's see. Can I get it? Ta-da! The celebrations brochure. So again, for July and August, whenever you place a $50 product order, and it goes in increments of 50. So if you purchase $50 in product, and that's less tax and shipping, you get to pick a bonus item that's marked $50 in here. There are a couple that are marked $100. So let's say you put in a $150 order. You would get to pick three $50 bonus products is what I call them. I don't like calling them free because I feel like you earn them with your purchase. So you would get to pick three $50 bonus products, or you could pick $100 and a $50, just so it totals up. But it has to be exact. It has to be $50 purchase, $100 purchase, $150 purchase. Okay, so exciting times. Plus Plus, we still have more Good Morning Case cards. I think I have volume this morning. Good morning, Colleen. Volume is always good when you're doing a live. So maybe it's figured out and next week it could be a, as they say, a crapshoot. But we'll move forward. We'll think positive, okay? I'm going to switch down to my workstation camera. Here we go. So again, sorry, I have a dry spot in my throat. There we go. And being it's Coffee and Create, maybe I should take a little sip of coffee. Okay, guys. So here's what we have active. We have the annual catalog. We have the mini catalog, the July through December mini. It says July through December. If you look on the back of your catalog, you'll see it actually goes through the 4th of January. And if you have not received this catalog, please let me know. I'd be happy to send one out to you along with the Celebration brochure. Now, Celebration is only July through August. So if there's items in here or items in the annual catalog, they combine so that you can pick your bonus products. Okay? All right. So somebody give me a thumbs up if the volume is good, please. I'll show you the products I'm going to use today. So last year when the mini catalog came out, this was featured in that catalog and it carried over to the annual catalogs. Yay! Good morning, Sandy. I'm so glad that this was fixed because last week was like, oh, a bomb. All right. So the Christmas to Remember and the seasonal labels dies. So is what I'm going to be using on today's card is the seasonal labels dies. They're pretty awesome. They're really awesome. There's 19 dies in the pack, lots of labels. I have one missing here that I'm going to be using today, so this one. But you get all of these little label tags. There's holly leaves, there's holly berries, there's pine cones. There's just a lot of really pretty leafy type dies that are perfect. Check out some of the samples on page 44 in your annual catalog. So there's that. The other thing that I'm going to be using out of the annual, well, those are the dies. I showed you those. So let's move to the mini catalog. Is what I'm going to be using from the mini catalog is this Embossing Additions Toolkit. You guys, I showed you this last time too, but you get the tray, the embossing buddy, and I'll show you how this works. A reverse tweezer, which is amazing, and then a brush just to brush off excess powder should you need it. So that can be found on page 49 in the mini catalog, and it's amazing. All right. What next? Oh, yes, Celebration. So I am going to be using two things from Celebration. I'm going to be using the Silver and Gold 6x6 Designer Series paper. I think it's actually a specialty paper. And then I'm going to be using the Amazing Phrasing stamp set. This is really fun. So, and is what I did is I actually cased this card right here, and I'll show you that whole demonstration right now. Okay. So here's our card. Cute, 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 right? Love it. And let's bring in our pieces. So as what I have is just a scrap of printer paper that I used for blending. I have a piece of Coastal Cabana, and this measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. So we'll just fold on our score line, match up our edges, and then we'll take our bone folder and crease. I have a piece of basic white that measures 4 by 5.25, and that's going to be for our insert. I have a medium basic white envelope, and then I have a piece of basic white that measures 3 inches across by 5.5 inches down. And then this is that beautiful paper, you guys, the specialty paper from Celebrations. And I chose to use the silver metallic. Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah. So, this piece measures 2 3/4 by 5.5. And then you're going to need a scrap of Coastal Cabana. So let's just grab a scrap piece here and we'll get started. All right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to blend the colors onto our specialty paper here. And I think, let me zoom in just a little bit. I don't like to zoom a lot because then I forget to put it back out. And the color palette that I've chosen for today's cards, we're going to need the Versamark to do the white emboss. We are going to use Mango Melody, Pear Pizzazz, and Coastal Cabana. All right, and I'm going to start with the Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to ink up my blending brush. I want to start in a circular motion off the paper and then moving on to our paper. I'm going to pick up a little bit more, start off and blend on. This is so, I don't know, it's really therapeutic once you start doing it. It's just so cool the way the colors come together. All right, I'm going to take my Pear Pizzazz, grab a separate blending brush. Starting off again, I'm going to move on to my paper again in a circular motion. And then last, for the blending, I'll bring in my Mango Melody. And Mango Melody, you don't need a lot of ink because this adds super duper color, as you can see. I'm so right-handed. I have to turn my paper so I can see. But isn't that pretty? Look at how that changed that paper from just white with silver to a blended color. Love it. So just a scrap piece of printer paper for protecting your work surface. I'm going to leave this out. No, I'm not. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss Mini, my little mini buddy. And we're going to take the die from the Seasonal Labels die. And this is the medium-sized one. And I'm just going to cut this out. And you guys, when I do videos, I always assume that everybody knows how to die cut, and that's not a good thing to assume. Die cutting could be very new to your craft. So for this mini, you use plate number 1, cutting plate number 2. You lay your piece of paper, your cardstock down, and then your die. And your die has a cutting edge. You'll feel it. That goes down on your paper, and then you make this sandwich with the other cutting plate number 2, and then roll it through as you saw me do. And now look at this fun label that we get, right? All right. Move this out of our way. And then is what we can do is I'm going to bring in my Versamark, and I'm going to bring in the stamp set, the Amazing Phrases. I want to use this hay, right? And I know exactly who I'm going to make this card for. This is for my friend Anne, who she had a very exciting happening within her job where she was recognized I hope I get this right. She was recognized as one of seven women to actually get into, I think they call it the Silver Club, but based on patents that she has come up with over her work career. How cool is that? And how, I don't know, it's just one of those things. There's only 7 women in the company that have done that. And Anne is either number 7 or number 8. And I think that's just awesome. So is what you're seeing me do is I'm using Versamark. And you're like, what? When you have these bold stamps and you want them to stamp bold, you can ink up with the Versamark. Then you can go into your ink pad so that you get really good coverage on your stamp, so that when you stamp onto your piece, you get that nice bold color. Sometimes these can be really spotty or blotchy, and to ensure that you get that good color, you can add that little bit of Versamark. Now I need to clean my stamp because we're going to be going into another color. And you guys, my chamois is well loved, but these Simply Chamois are the bomb for cleaning stamps. Let's bring in our Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to ink up again with Versamark, because remember, that helps me get that bold color. I'm going to drop this down just a little bit. See how nice and how that pops? Yeah, yay for Anne. It is truly awesome. So I cannot wait to give her this card. Now I'm going to bring in Coastal Cabana. I'm going to ink it up. Oops, I forgot my Versamark. So let me take the ink off. We'll ink it up here. Do you guys see how quickly that Simply Chamois cleans your stamps? Really awesome. Now this one I'm going to put fairly close to the Pear Pizzazz. And I'll show you why I spaced those like I did. See how I left that little space in there? All right. Put those aside for now. I'm going to bring in my scrap piece of Coastal Cabana. And the other stamp that I'm using is, it says, "You did it." So I'm going to ink that up with my Versamark. But before I put it on here, I'm going to bring in my embossing tray, right? My tools, my reverse tweezer, my brush, my embossing buddy. This is important. You rub this on your cardstock. It takes the static off from your cardstock. Ink this up with Versamark. Stamp it onto your cardstock. And then I'm going to take my white, I'm going to start up my heat tool. So if you hear noise in the background, that's what that is. Taking my white embossing powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on here heavily. Okay. Now, before I dry that, I want to close up my Versamark. I want to take my tray, the cap screws off here, and I can just simply tap and use my brush. And that puts all of the embossing powder right back into my container. Now you have to realize I do quite a bit of embossing. So I have about, I don't know, probably close to 10 containers of embossing powder in here. You will have just a little container, but that's okay. Let's bring in our heat tool, and I'm just going to heat this up to set the powder. And you'll see when that happens, it gets really white and really shiny. So now it says you did it. All right. Be careful not to overheat your paper because it will actually burn the powder. All right, so now is what I'm going to do is just trim this. And I'm just trimming by hand because it's not very big. And if we need to do it a little bit closer, we can. That looks pretty good. I just want to make sure I don't cut my letters. All right, save my little scrap for later. Put this back on my tray. Okay. And so now we get to finish our card. Let's take some dimensionals, add those onto our little banner here. So the Versamark ink does not damage the ink pad. No, it does not contaminate. It's good. I can't wait to get the embossing kit. I know, Sandy, it's amazing. All right. So I'm just going to put that right on here. And you see why I did that extra little space between the Mango Melody and the Pear Pizzazz? I wanted people to see that it still says, hey, 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 okay? Do you remember that show? What was it called? Hey, 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 Fat Albert, I think. All right, next. Let's bring in our inside insert. Now, because the front of it says, hey, 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 you did it, I'm leaving the inside of this card blank because I want to write a special little note to Anne, okay? I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back. And then it's even at the top and bottom with just that little 1/8 of an inch showing on each side. So just like that. And it looks like I didn't cut it exactly even. So I'll bring in my little trimmer here. This little trimmer was a celebration item quite a few years ago. When you joined Stampin' Up, you got that during celebration, you got that little trimmer as a gift. So this month and next month, if you decide to join Stampin' Up, and if you do, I hope that you'll join my team, but I'll show you what you get as a free, well, I shouldn't say free gift, but they add this to your package. For $99, you get to pick $150 worth of product. And I better make sure I'm telling you this right. Hold on 1 second. So during celebration, yes, you join for $99, okay? And you get to choose $125 in products, not $150. But they are going to send you this beautiful, see, here's where I need to zoom out again, which I don't remember to do. They're going to send you this beautiful planner. And you guys, it really is pretty. And whether Whether you take your stamping up, you know, and start it as a business, or whether you just are a hobby demonstrator, your own best customer, they send you this beautiful planner as part of your welcome gift for joining Stampin' Up. So if you're thinking about it and you want to talk about it, please reach out. I'd be happy to talk to you. And like I said, I would love, love, love to have you on my team. Who do I have on here for my team? Sandy for sure. Thanks, Kathy. I think are you talking about the card or the planner? I'm not sure. All right, so now before I put this on the front of my card, I want to take some of our beautiful linen thread. And what I'm going to do is, do you ever see these and you wonder how people did that? It took me a long time. Give me just a second. I forgot one thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is wrap this around. 1, 2, 3. Cut it. Then I'm just going to pinch them together like this, holding the ends. I'm going to put it down on my card, and with some good old-fashioned Scotch tape, I'm just going to tape it in place, kind of move my little loops around a bit. And I put it at a diagonal because when I put this on, I just want them to be back and forth, back and forth. Kathy, you're funny. I'm glad you love the card. All right, so then on the envelope, because you know I do not do naked envelopes here at Create with Brenda. So what I want to do is I'm just going to take my, I do want Coastal Cabana. I'm going to ink it up. And then I'm going to go, hey, hey, hey. Just on the corner. So I did that, the full ink, the second generation, third generation. So on the outside of my envelope now, I have the hey, hey, hey. And you did it. So that's today's project. Little bit of blending brushes, a little bit of Versamark technique, a little bit of heat embossing, and how to make your linen thread loops on your card. I hope you'll give it a try, you guys. Have a fun and safe holiday weekend, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye for now.